one of the projects which I get to work with here in this new role, and which I have been following for quite a while, is this particular research project, Public Enquiries, which takes its starting point in Kerstin Bergendal's practice, and more particularly her project PARK LEK, a durational art project developed in Hallonbergen and Ör, which belonged to the municipality of Sundbyberg, located close to Stockholm. And Kerstin will present the project in more details on her own, but also together in a talk together with Robert Chaco, who participated in the project, and Anna Pilebro Brynjelsson, who at the time of PARK LEK was a teacher in Sundbyberg. And in these homemade booklets, you will find out more about the project itself. So this is the third symposium within Public Enquiries. Earlier we have been in Sundbyberg in November 2015 and in Copenhagen in January earlier this year. And what we have previously done with these symposia, in addition to presenting the project, was to invite different experts and people who have been working in similar ways, either within the art field or in neighboring fields, to comment and reflect on PARK LEK, but from their own experience. And today is no exception. Leah Gillardi and Mary Jane Jacob are here to talk about their work and as much as possible related to Kerstin's PARK LEK, given their long-term engagement with durational projects. Leah is a cultural planner and Mary Jane, above all, as an art curator. We have also invited several respondents, and we are happy to have here today Katrin Böhm and Christian Skåbjerg Jensen. I think they are spread around the room. Victoria Perkovic Gutierrez and Maike Schalk. And they are going to respond at the end of the talks, just before the public discussion. And you can read more about all the contributors' backgrounds in the program of the symposium. This is the one. So you should make sure you have one. The research project Public Enquiries is jointly organized by Valand Academy together with Marabou Park and Konsthall and somewhere in Copenhagen. Marabou Park and Konsthall was the original commissioner of PARK LEK in 2010, and you will hear more from both right after I finish. What I would like to say now is that we have had several reasons for starting this research project, but I want to draw your attention to two of these reasons. First, we wanted to place this kind of practice in a context and in that way trace or identify some genealogies of working with such long-term temporary interventions in the Nordic art context, actually the Swedish and Danish art context in particular. This being an area of artistic work typically associated with the Anglo-Saxon art scene. And another reason is because we think such practices are particularly relevant today, and Mick Wilson will address this second reason in more detail in his lecture. Gradually we will produce a publication which will partly document, partly add to PARK LEK, hopefully already next year. And before I hand over to Ulrikke from somewhere, I would like to make a sort of announcement which is connected to today's topic. So another part of my work at Valand is to develop a course. Actually, it's two courses on art, urbanity, and public sphere. One course for artists and one course for producers. And it has been very stimulating to follow and work with these public inquiry symposia because they have triggered questions and insights about what some of the central issues in the courses should be. And the courses will start in the spring of 2017, and we will publish more information about that soon. But I just wanted to mention these courses for you now because you might be interested in collaborating, or you might want to take the courses, or just spread the word to people who might be interested. So once again, welcome, and I leave the word to Somewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it on? Yes, it is.
You can sit there if you want.
No.
I think you're on.
No, yeah, okay. Thank you, Giorgiana. I've been looking very much forward to this last and third Public Inquiries Symposium. My name is Ulrikke, and I am the Artistic Director or co-director of the Public Art Agency Somewhere, which is based in Copenhagen. We work with public art, with production and with debate and with counseling. Cooperating with a large amount of artists and municipalities, organizations, institutions. And we were the organizers of the second Public Inquiries Symposium in Copenhagen. Somewhere is actually founded by Kerstin Bergendal, who is also the director at InterArt Center in Malmö, and who is here today as one of the respondents. Somewhere is directed by myself and my colleague Stenka Helfak, who unfortunately had to head back to Copenhagen due to some sudden illness this morning. But she'll listen to the recordings afterwards. The objective of Somewhere's work is to produce ambitious and relevant art projects in various public spaces and to contribute to the ongoing discussion on what public art can and should be today. Therefore, it is obvious for us to be part of this collaborative Public Inquiries research project, as we find it very important to bring more focus on long-term socially engaged art practices in general, and the methods of Kerstin Bergendal in particular. Basically, because we find it urgent, both as curators and educationally, to feature an understanding of public art that is in accordance with the heritage from the Danish artist Kasper Heiberg, who is a pioneer in the 70s, but whose mythology Kerstin Bergendal has kept alive. The objective of Heiberg's practice was, as we believe it is for Kerstin, to challenge the human brain's longing for the recognizable and its urge to classify the world in recognizable patterns, thus giving the brain a feeling of safety and happiness, and to replace that recognition of patterns with new concepts that does not fit into the mental boxes of sameness, thus getting the brain to work and develop. Heiberg, in his practice, did that through changing and challenging ways of seeing and experiencing the built environment. Kerstin Bergendal has taken Heiberg's objectives a step further, employing a method of challenging and changing existing social and political structures, which defines, amongst other things, the built environment or the city plan. In the light of the current political situation in Scandinavia and Europe, we find that discussion on exactly that, how art may contribute to change structures and generate social change, is urgently needed. And another reason for us to put focus on long-term social practices in Somewhere is to try to amend the fact that they are often poorly understood and poorly appreciated by funders and art institutions. Finally, we find it really important to also debate the external and inherent challenges and possible gaps in co-creational processes and long-term methodologies. At the second Public Inquiries Symposium in January in Copenhagen, that Somewhere facilitated, the main subject was the ability of these projects to take action and build conditions for democracy and active citizenships. The speakers, Angelica Fitz, James Holston and Andrea Phillips, presented different perspectives on the power of action, activist strategies and the utopian idea of a free communicative public space. Spreading light on different democratic tools and methodologies implicit in PARK LEK, the symposium tried to dig deeper into the interfaces between artistic methods and methods in architecture, planning and anthropology. Today the discussion is continued, so I think we should just get started. And I'll do that by passing on to Helena Zelder, the curator behind the PARK LEK project from